here when you need us.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. The Monday night DeWitt County Land Use Committee meeting was dominated by updates regarding the renewable energy developments in the county. County Zoning Administrator Elizabeth Weichel was charged with updating the committee on the numerous projects starting across DeWitt County.
In July, we issued 9 permits, including 1 new residence. The RPC met on July 21st to hear 2 special use applications, which they approved to go to the ZBA. They're working on the battery storage ordinance. The ZBA met on August 3rd. They approved 2 variances and then motioned to move 2 special use permits onto the county board for final approval. Blue Iris is in the process of completing their solar project in this county. We have received the final as-built drawings for our ordinance, and we are currently working with Cummins Engineering to make sure everything is completed per our ordinance. Triple Black Diamond will be coming to the county board meeting. They are seeking a letter that we won't enforce the old ordinance on them, that they have to start their project within a year. And then Prairie Flats and North Yards are both working towards their building permits. And then the last thing is, we've had inquiries about a solar project named Heritage, but the county has not received any applications for this project, so no hearings have been scheduled. So I wanted to make sure that was on record, because there's been some questions. Some people thought the hearings were already scheduled and we'd already received applications, and that's not the case.
There is the potential for another solar farm developer to come to DeWitt County, though Weichel clarified no applications have been submitted and cleared up confusion that no hearings were scheduled.
Triple Black Diamond, at the time of their signing, we had an ordinance in place that said that within a year of receiving their siting, that they had to start their construction. Since then, we have updated the ordinance because the state statute currently says we cannot put a restriction on them that is less than 5 years to start their project. So their financial backers have concerns that we're going to try to enforce the old ordinance on them and not honor the current ordinance. So they need something from the county board is what they're seeking at the next meeting that says that we won't go back and enforce an old ordinance.
The Triple Black Diamond developer is seeking to be approved for its application under the current state of Illinois statutes, even though it was approved under the previous ordinances by DeWitt County.
Yeah, what you're saying, they were approved under an ordinance prior.
Yes.
To what's in effect now. So it actually applies to them, so they would have to get a...
Well, the current ordinance also reads, though, that I think they can request an extension, if I'm not mistaken. It can't be unreasonably withheld.
Yeah,
so,
but they were approved under the prior ordinance.
Right.
So it's kind of like those conditions apply to them, and that's why I see that they're going to make an appeal to have that exempted, I guess. So something to be considered. Okay.
Do you know what's holding them up? Why haven't they started construction?
No, I'm not sure. I know that this is part of the holdup is the changeover in the ordinance. I think part of the financial backing has been held up by that because we did transition to a new ordinance with new state statute once the new state statute went into place. So I think there was some concern over that.
I wonder, could we have a resolution ready for county board just stating the facts that they were approved with the old language. The statute has been updated since, and then I guess if we pass that, it would effectively serve as their letter. Otherwise, they don't.
Yeah, I think that's what they're looking for, is something that says that, the state statute has changed, our ordinance has changed.
This is going to direct State's Attorney Dan Markwell to write language for the developer to be able to develop under the current state of Illinois regulations rather than previous DeWitt County ordinances, and the county board will take it up at its monthly meeting next Thursday, August 20th. Additionally, the committee received an update on trying to make contact with Enel Green Energy representatives, as well as ongoing efforts to update the county's waste management plans. We'll have more on those discussions in the days ahead from the Hart Media Group. With school right around the corner, law enforcement officials are gearing up for the busy back-to-school season. Piatt County Sheriff Mark Vogelzang explains that its school resource officers, or SROs, are gearing up to continue providing services to local schools for another 2 years. Those contracts were up at the end of the school year in May.
Yeah, we were just talking off air how fast this summer's gone by, and it's hard to believe that it's time for school again. But this SRO contracts, or school resource officer contracts, were up at the end of the school year. We've worked with the schools and our county board, and both those contracts were approved for another 2 years. So we're real excited to be able to keep a deputy in those schools, not only for the safety aspect, providing that extra security, but just building those relationships. It's so cool to see when you're out and about, the kids that have grown up in the schools or currently still in the schools, having those good relationships that we build in the schools. Absolutely. Justin Ernst is the dedicated SRO for DeLand Weldon. He's been there, I want to say, about 3 years now. They had participated in the SRO program when it first started about 7 years ago, but it went very, very well. And about 3 years ago, they approached us and wanted their own full-time SRO. Lindsay Bross was our original SRO, has been doing it since the inception. And she kind of splits her time between Monticello, Bement, and Cerro Gordo. So they all kind of take turns rotating, Lindsay being in those schools.
Sheriff Vogelzang says they are involved in school safety plans throughout Piatt County, in and outside of school buildings. Traffic enforcement is important, especially early on as pedestrians and drivers adjust to busier roads during arrival and dismissal times.
Yeah, we work very closely with the schools for their safety plans as it involves, any type of critical incident that could happen there. But, as we get closer to that, the start dates, there's going to be a lot of traffic around the schools, as people kind of get in the groove with the drop off and pickup times. There's some of the schools that have a change in traffic pattern. There's a one-way street during the school pickup and drop-off times. I'm thinking of Mansfield in particular. Mm-hmm. And it does take some time to get the drivers used to that again. With that change, a lot of increased traffic. You got your pedestrians and just the bus pickup and drop off points, trying to watch for those safety arm violations. We want to make sure that the kids are safe as they're getting on and getting off those buses.
Mm-hmm. Piatt County has a number of school districts that host students from neighboring counties. Sheriff Vogelzang indicates they collaborate with area first responders when emergency planning and training to ensure a speedy response from all necessary agencies.
Yeah, a lot of times when we have those initial safety meetings, all those agencies are invited. We're getting ready to do some training at DeLand School with our deputies this week on different drills. We've invited Monticello PD over there to attend with us. In the past, we've had DeWitt or ISP, Department of Conservation. People a lot of times forget about them, mm-hmm. but they're over there with Clinton Lake quite a bit. So if there was a critical incident at DeLand School, they might very well be one of the first agencies to be in the area to assist. Mm-hmm. So keeping those guys involved in those safety meetings is very, very important. Every year we get together, we go over all the safety plans. Those are updated, working a lot of times I'll attend those, but the SROs are involved with them. And yeah, it's the staff from the school as well as a lot of the different first responders in the community that attend those.
The sheriff reminds drivers around school buildings in the coming months to respect school zone speed limits and keep an eye out for pedestrians. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
WHOW is your home for Clinton Maroon sports. Tune in all season long on 1520 AM, 92.3 FM, or stream the games live on the WHOW app. Go Maroons!
Spring brings brighter days and more time to enjoy them. Your home should too. At Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth, enjoy one-story living and walking paths right outside your door. Spend less time on upkeep and more time enjoying spring. To learn more, click our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Here's Clinton Save-A-Lot owner Dave Jackson on how he works to save you money every day.
I watch the Decatur market very carefully. I stay under these, supposed low-price chains. I make sure I'm under them. So anybody that's rushing to Decatur or other towns to buy commodity items like flour and sugar and milk and eggs and things that matter are fooling themselves. We are cheaper or as cheap on all the items that matter, and I make sure of that.
And as Dave always says,
Hope to see you soon.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Edmundo Sosa drove in 3 runs, and Kyle Schwarber reached base 4 times as the Philadelphia Phillies beat the St. Louis Cardinals 6-5 on Monday night. Phillies right-hander Andrew Painter took a no-hitter into the 6th before running out of steam. Ivan Herrera's one-out double broke up the no-hit bid, and Alec Burleson followed with a 2-run single that chased Painter after 93 pitches. Painter is 2-8 and allowed 2 runs on 2 hits, walked 3 and struck out 6 in 5 1/3 innings as the Phillies won their 2nd straight and for the 7th time in 10 games. Jonathan Boland earned his first save in 4 chances. Brandon Marsh singled and scored on a Hunter Dobbins throwing error, and Sosa followed with an RBI single to give the Phillies a 2-0 lead in the 2nd inning. Schwarber, who leads the National League with 35 homers, singled and scored in the 5th and doubled home Garrett Stubbs in the 7th to add to the lead. Schwarber also walked twice. A 2-run double by Sosa in the 8th made it 6-2. The 3 RBI night was the most for Sosa since driving in 5 runs against the Washington Nationals on June 23rd. Burleson's RBI double sparked a 3-run rally for the Cardinals in the 8th. Mason Wynn and Jose Fermin followed with run-scoring hits to cut their deficit to 1. Jordan Walker extended his hitting streak to 10 games, the 4th streak of 10 or more games for him this season. Dobbins is 2-3 and allowed 3 runs with just 1 earned in 5 innings. He gave up 4 hits, walked 3 and struck out 6 as the Cardinals lost for the 2nd time in 3 games. Phillies lefty Christopher Sanchez is 15-4 with a 2.65 ERA and will face Cardinals righty Andre Palante, who is 12-6 with a 3.63 ERA on Tuesday. In scores from around the MLB yesterday, the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Boston Red Sox 2-1, while the New York Mets took down the Atlanta Braves 8-5. The Minnesota Twins beat the Baltimore Orioles 9-5, while the Texas Rangers beat the Los Angeles Angels 4-1 in 10 innings. The Arizona Diamondbacks shut out the Colorado Rockies 9-0, while the San Diego Padres beat the Milwaukee Brewers 3-2. The Tampa Bay Rays took down the Athletics 10-6, while the Houston Astros beat the San Francisco Giants 6-3 in 10 innings, and the Los Angeles Dodgers beat the Kansas City Royals 6-5. Green Bay coach Matt LaFleur is still sorting through potential offensive line combinations as he addresses a position group that ranked among the Packers' biggest concerns last season. That uncertainty lends some intrigue to the Packers' preseason schedule that begins Thursday at Pittsburgh. Green Bay has a new look on the offensive line after losing Rasheed Walker to Carolina in free agency and releasing center Elgton Jenkins, who ended up in Cleveland. The most likely starting five heading into training camp included Jordan Morgan at left tackle, Aaron Banks at left guard, Sean Ryan at center, Anthony Belton at right guard, and Zach Bacco-Buele at right tackle. Belton, who started 7 games as a rookie last season, criticized his lack of consistency after the Packers' family night workout on Friday. He has spent the last couple of days working primarily at tackle, where Morgan and Bacco-Buele are the clear-cut starters. With Banks recovering from a knee issue and Belton working at tackle, Jacob Monk and rookie 5th-round pick Yeager Burton got most of the first-team reps at guard. Jenkins played just 9 games last year before having a season-ending ankle injury that caused Ryan to take over at center. Bacco-Buele, who announced last week that he was changing his name from Zach Tom, partially tore his patellar tendon in mid-December and just started practicing in team drills Sunday. Banks missed 2 games and dealt with groin and ankle issues. Green Bay must stabilize a line that allowed only 29 sacks, matching the NFL's 7th lowest total, but struggled to create running room last year after gaining 4.7 yards per rush in 2025. The Packers slipped to 4.1 last season for their lowest average since 2012. Eric Jones knew the reality of his situation heading into the NASCAR Cup Series race at Iowa Speedway. Jones came into the weekend 18th in the standings, 44 points behind 16th place Austin Cindric for the final spot in the chase that determines the series champion. The 350-lap race Sunday was the first of the final 4 races of the regular season, and Jones was running out of time. Then, Jones, who started 10th, got taken out 4 laps in when Tyler Reddick's car slid into him, sending both cars into the wall and ending the day for both drivers. Denny Hamlin leads the standings with 923 points, 103 points ahead of Ty Gibbs, who won Sunday's race, just ahead of Joe Gibbs' racing team teammate Christopher Bell. Only 4 drivers have wrapped up chase spots: Hamlin, Gibbs, Ryan Blaney, who has 813 points, and Reddick with 803 points. Cindric has 526 points. Brian Preece is the first driver below the cut line at 497. Ross Chastain jumped 3 spots after his 7th place finish at Iowa, moving from 18th place at 479 points. Brad Keselowski is 1 point behind Chastain. Other than maybe the last 1 or 2 spots, the biggest scramble now in the final month could be for seeding. Points for the top 16 drivers will reset after August 29th, regular season finale at Daytona. The regular season champion will be the top seed and start the chase with 2,100 points. The second seed will have 2,075 points, and the third seed will have 2,065 points, with a 5-point drop for each seed after that. Some of the biggest changes in the standings came in that middle group. Chase Briscoe rose 3 spots to 5th place with 663 points. He's 4 points ahead of Bell, who climbed 4 spots with his 2nd place finish. A crash ended Kyle Larson's day, and he finished 33rd to drop 4 spots in the standings to 10th. The crucial jump of the day, though, belonged to Gibbs, who went from 4th to 2nd. Jones's early exit dropped him to 20th place, 50 points behind Cindric, and 4 drivers to climb over to get on the good side of the cut line. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms And get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Finding the right employees can be a real challenge these days. Whether you're hiring